Did someone try to carjack that F-35? All right, I found a few good pieces of information that I'm going to be sharing a little bit later about this story, but this story just seems a little bit odd, so I did want to dig into it a little bit more, mainly using this article from the Daily Mail. So anyway, the pilot did eject safely into a residential neighborhood in North Charleston. And after that, this is when the military sent out a tweet saying, "We lost our F-35. Here's the phone number to call if you've seen it anywhere." It's like an $80 million aircraft. You think they'd just splurge and spend an extra $30 for an Apple AirTag, right? Just throw one in there. On Monday afternoon, the military said they found the debris from the plane in a debris field. And so a lot of people thinking it was in the ocean or a lake, and that's why they had a hard time finding it. It was actually just on regular old dirt in South Carolina. But they did finally find the wreckage. And on Monday afternoon, the Marine Corps issued a 2-day stand-down period for all aviation units, both inside and outside the United States. They were going to do a 2-day discussion about safety measures and procedures, according to an email that ABC News got a hold of. I'm sure the 2 days of training is basically going to be, don't hit the eject button unless you really need to. But you know, if they train people to not push that button, you know that's all they're going to want to do is push that button. That's just going to like, I need to push it. But I don't know, maybe he ejected for some other reason. Like maybe he stopped identifying as a pilot and started identifying as a paratrooper. And you know, we can't really argue with that. Just, sure, eject. It does say here that the pilot enabled the autopilot function prior to his ejection, which I don't know if that's normal, but that seems a little... That's one of the things that caught my eye. Like, why would you be putting that on autopilot before your ejection? If the plane can be on autopilot and it keeps flying, you should maybe stay in it. It would be easy. It seems like it would be easier to find the plane with a pilot inside of it. I mean, if it's not dangerous, if it's still going to fly for a while. But there's a lot of stuff we don't know. So maybe it was something else was happening. But now I did find some kind of interesting pieces of information from a different source. So this didn't come from the Daily Mail. It says here the Marine Corps variant of the F-35 is different from the Air Force and the Navy. One of the differences is that it's the only one of the 3 variants that has an auto-eject function on its ejection seat. And that's according to the seat manufacturer, Martin Baker. So that has raised the questions about whether the malfunction was with the seat itself. Like, did the plane eject the pilot on its own? Was it an auto-eject? And that was the malfunction, and that's why it's not being talked about. This other piece of information from that same source. Other major questions include how the aircraft continued flying for 60 miles before crashing in a field near Indiantown, South Carolina, and why the pilot bailed out. If the bailout was intentional of a plane that was able to keep operating for that long, said Mark Kansian, a retired Marine Corps Reserve Colonel and Senior Advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Security. If it flew that far, could the pilot have landed it someplace? Why punch out where he did? Which I think is that's what I was wondering. Like, okay, if this thing can still fly, and this is the first time I saw that it flew for 60 miles. Can these planes be hacked? Tons of software. They use tons of software on all of these modern day jet fighters, right? So could it have been hacked and the auto eject went off and it kept flying? Now, they said they couldn't find it because it is a stealth fighter. It has all these coatings that make it very difficult to find and detect. And they also said that the F-35's transponder wasn't working. So basically, with all the things that were with this jet and went wrong, they're making it sound like it was like Wonder Woman's jet fighter, completely invisible. And then I guess I can see why you couldn't find it. But I don't think it was that invisible, was it? Come on. It says here that officials are still investigating why the pilot ejected. Have you guys tried asking him? I mean, he's there, right? Everything I've read, he's fine. He went to the hospital, he's fine. Can you just not ask him why he ejected. And if he didn't eject and the plane ejected him, then he can tell us, hey, and then it would get, really crazy. I mean, I'm sure it's not ChatGPT trying to take this plane. That'd be really weird. We'll have to wait and see if the military gives us any more information on what caused this mishap and why the pilot ejected from the plane, why it kept flying for another 60 miles. There are a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about. And if they come out with any more information, I'll probably do a follow-up video. All right. Thank you for watching.